Hey guys, MB aka Zombie here, and I'm doing an automaton killing guide, specifically killing the automaton tracers using melee. So I'm going to go over my setup here. First, I use the Elite Void melee set, as that gives you the maximum damage per second, and I gear that with Comp Cape, Fury, Dual Drygor Rapiers, the 6-stage Circuit Ring, and Steadfast Boots. And I know you can mix and match there for basically your best range defense and or best crit bonus meleeing. And also with that, if you don't have Dual Drygors, Chaotic Maul is your best option. And also note that some of the abilities might be different, dual wielding versus two-handed, so keep that in mind. As far as the aura that I'm using, basically your best prayer saving aura is going to be best. So if you're new to it, probably penance is best because you'll be taking more damage. Otherwise, reverence is a good one to give you more points per potion. And also, if you don't have either of those, vampirism is a good one for life points. And so basically, this is a good setup. Any dual Drygors is going to mow through them. The tracers are weak to crush, but like I said, dual Drygors, it really doesn't matter. And so if you have a Chaotic Maul, it's a good crushing weapon, so that's a good alternative for that. As far as your inventory goes, the main concern is prayer potions and prayer renewals, and I find that 2 prayer flasks per prayer renewal is a pretty good ratio. So I'll bring 3 sets of that if I'm not using the penance aura. Otherwise, I'll just bring 1 set of that group. And then other than that, if you're wanting to kill hardcore and not loot as much, I would suggest overloads. Otherwise, overloads aren't required, but they do speed up kills a little bit. And then there's just the Charming Imp, Charms, and a Holy Wrench and Unicorn. So now that we've got all the gear and equipment set up, let's go ahead and take a look at how we set up our ability bar. And this is what I find best. I use Kick, Punish, Slice, Decimate, Sever, Dismember, Destroy, Assault, Berserk, Slaughter, Fury, and I also put Soul Split on my action bar. My quick curses or quick prayers are set to Turmoil and Soul Split. And then let me remind you that Decimate and Destroy are dual wielding abilities only, so if you're using the Maul option, you're going to want to fill those with alternatives. So once you're all geared up and have all your equipment ready and you're ready to go, you can just use your 6-stage circuit ring to teleport you to the Guthix Shrine. And that brings you right here to the High Druid. And you talk to him and he can teleport you to the chamber. If you don't have the ring, you can use Artie Farm teleport or just teleport to Artie and run there. And it's not too far. So you enter in the room here and there's automatons all over. So up here at the north, there's the automaton generators, and those are magic generators. If you can kind of see their hands, they have sort of elemental type hands, meaning they cast magic, and if you inspect them, they're weak to arrows, which is correct based on the combat triangle. So to the west, there are the automaton meleeers known as guardians, and they are weak to fire spells specifically. Shout out to Jolly, who's hitting them right now. And then back here to the south are the automaton tracers that are rangers, and they are weak to crush. But if you use Drygor weapons, any melee Drygor weapons are going to tear through them. And if you don't have those, then you have the Chaotic Maul, which is a crush weapon, so it helps too. So the first thing I wanted to show is their special attack. If you're familiar with Donkey Kong, he has a ground smack that uses both hands and just smashes the ground in front of him, and that's kind of where I think they got the reference for Automaton's special ability. And so once they start smacking the ground, it sends out shock waves, and you're within range. Here it is. You see shock waves coming at me, and if you're within range, it does pretty significant damage to you. So there's 2 things you can do, or there's 3 things you can do to avoid it. The first one is use a stun, and the stun nulls the damage for 3 seconds. The second one is you can use a teleport like the escape ability in the range book to teleport you out of the range of the spec. Or the third thing you can do is just not even come here because you're too scared. And those are the 3 ways of preventing its spec. So if we take another look at it, I use the stun, and that's the most effective way, especially if you're meleeing, so you can still hit it and you don't have to move within range and run back. So stuns are effective for melee. So now that we know what the special attack does and what it looks like, I'm just going to do a couple of basic kills here to give you an idea of what it's like. So I'm just cycling through my basic abilities using slice and sever and all those. And in order to get decent kills, you want to incorporate at least one threshold ability per kill. So as you see there, I used assault, and that does more damage, and it cuts into the time of the kill, and a lot of times it prevents them from using their special attack. So try to work in one threshold ability per kill, unless you're on Berserk, which is basically what you want to try to do. So here's a spec again. I use a stun, and see the spec damage stops for 3 seconds after I use the stun. So just go through your kills. Try to get the most out of your adrenaline. See right here I'm using basics with a full bar, which isn't efficient. So I use a full Berserk here, and I start to really increase my DPS, as that's really the whole point of Berserk. And also, as you notice, I pulled up my action menu. I'm on Berserk, and I use another threshold ability, Assault. And if you're still on Berserk, you basically want to try to build up to a threshold and use Destroy or Assault. And those deal, anywhere from 4,000 to 8,000 damage per hit of the ability. So those are your real damage makers in a sense. And also, one thing you can do with Slaughter to make it more effective is use the hit and walk method. And what that does is Slaughter puts a bleed on your opponent, and if you read the details of it, it says it triples the damage if they move off the space they're located. So if you use Slaughter and put the bleed on them, and then if you walk, the term walk means you either run through them or walk underneath them to where they have to relocate to retarget you. And once they move, then the bleed gets tripled, and that makes it a more efficient ability to get more damage out of it. So those are pretty much all of the basics of killing automaton tracers meleeing. The main thing is avoiding their special attack and doing that with a stun or escape. Other than that, you want to be using your adrenaline efficiently, incorporating threshold abilities into each kill, and using Berserk frequently, and also getting to a threshold ability while still on Berserk to really increase DPS. And what you really want to do with that is, if you still have Berserk up and you get to a threshold ability, you might as well just start a new kill while one's already targeting you, because the damage output's pretty much going to KO the new one. So it's best to just focus on a new one when that situation comes up. And other than that, just use your unicorn sparingly and toggle soul split on and off. A lot of times I do it when I'm either berserked or using thresholds, because that's when you do your most damage, so that's when you're going to get your most effective healing. And other than that, it's just experience and playing with it, and you'll get better and you'll get drops, and it can be fun for a bit. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm going to show a couple of hardcore kills using all-out overloads and not looting, and I'll get some good music going for you to really set the mood. Thanks for watching.
It's early morning, and the sun holds no redemption for me. And I then discover all the scratches running up and down my spine from the other night. I stagger onward, and the pain is nearly crippling me. Such sweet destruction, I'm a glutton when the decadence tastes right. Like the other night. The euphoric feeling is so right. When it seems control of my inhibitions are left behind, and I know that reality really won't rise. I'm a neverland soul who desires to leave all that cares behind. Later in the evening, I can hear all the voices calling to me, so I take another little taste and give it to liberate my mind from the finest kind. Yeah, the night's beginning, and the sea of the bodies crowd around me, ready to remember all the greatest moments lived in their lifetime. For another night. The euphoric feeling is so right. When it seems control of my inhibitions are left behind, and I know that reality really won't mind. I'm a neverland soul who desires to leave all that cares I'm not the only one. Learn a little lesson from me. I'm a leviathan. There's no compelling in me. The peanut hearts of the better one, setting the bar. A feeding frenzy when the starving just forget where they are. You're in denial when you say you never wanted to taste, and you don't really wanna let this do you. Don't go to waste, so don't deny it. Go on and try it.